Great. Again, I'd like to welcome everybody to the call. It's going to be a fun call. Make it fun, make it fast, do what we do. First thing I'd like to do is have you type ready in the box, or one of you type ready in the box. So make sure you can see the screen. So it should say type ready in the box. Showing the screen. Sound is good. All right. It's been a while since I've done it, so there's going to be some technical things. Great. Great. Good. Good. We are rocking. Everybody can see the box. I see the questions. Let's get this puppy on the road. Great. What would happen if you could set up the type of practice you always wanted? Right? What would that be like? It's no secret. Most hypnotists make very little income. You know, I go to a lot of conferences, and that's the one big thing I hear. How tough it is, how this, how that. And everybody has an excuse. You know, I'm in the Bible Belt. I'm in a conservative area. I'm this, I'm that. You know, they're looking for a reason to fail rather than a reason to succeed. So there's a lot of reasons, but then, or excuses, but there's basically some very simple answers. You know, you could set up the type of practice you wanted, right? So most hypnotists don't know how to generate income. And a lot of reasons for that. Number one is they mishandle phone calls. They think that their main job is to educate the public about what hypnosis is or NLP and what it isn't. When in fact, that's not your job at all, you know, in your office. They have no role models of success. This is a big one, and I know this from being at the conferences. And I see Scott Babb, a couple other people on the call that I know, that I see at conferences. And they can tell you that's one of the things that happens is, you know, a lot of people go to the conferences to learn how to make money. And unfortunately, even at a lot of the conferences, a lot of the people that teach it really don't do it full time. So they have another income. So what we want to do is begin to develop role models of people that have actually done this for a living. And what happens is people use old, outdated practice building, PB, practice building methods that might have worked in the 70s or 80s, maybe even into the 90s. A couple of them might have worked in the early 2000s, but every few years, everything changes. And then what happens, people fall into the law of reverse effect, as hypnotists know. You know, the law of reverse effect. The harder you try, the harder it becomes. If you ever done sports coaching, sports hypnosis, you know this is a biggie in the sports world. That's why you hear athletes talk about, I just have to relax and enjoy the game. But how would it be if you could relax and enjoy your practice because you're knowing how to make money? So here's what many people tried in traditional practice building. And yes, I heard some of this, I would say crap, but I'm trying to clean up my language, but it is crap. And I heard it again at a conference, 2 conferences this year. Number one, speaking to civic groups, Rotary, Chamber of Commerce, things like that. This should be an adjunct. It's never a main way to build your practice. In fact, it's easier to build your practice if you're going to use these civic group linking things if you have your practice up and going and you already have a name. You know, it's a hard way to get started. And then there's only a very specific way you can speak to these groups if you want to leverage it into really making money. Right? And most people don't do that. They waste their time. They get a free bad chicken lunch maybe or dinner and then no clients. And again, it's what they're doing. And I'll give this one just to you right now. If you do speak to this group, it has to be just the benefits of seeing you as a hypnotist, not what hypnosis is, not what hypnosis is not. Have some testimonials. If you do not have testimonials yourself yet, get research and testimonials off the website of people that have done it so you can point to that and then speak the truth. As it says, tell the truth, show the proof. When I spoke to those groups after I learned this, I'd say, did you know that if you're over 20 pounds overweight, people view you as lazy and slothful. If you're in any kind of financial market or sales position, you will sell less than someone that's closer to their ideal body weight. Fact. And of course, somebody in the group might want to go, yeah, but they're usually a big fat person. Want to prove they're the exception to the rule. I just say, well, if you lost weight, you'd sell more. I'm just going with the research says. Then you sound like a professional. And then just give facts, benefits, and a really flashy demonstration. Your job at those groups is not to educate them about hypnosis. Anyway, and then about networking with local businesses. This works if you have a methodology to do it. You've got to have some things to do and some reasons to do it to make it work. Handing out flyers, if you got time, you could do that, but it's basically ineffective in the long run. Again, this only really works once you've got a practice going, right? Going to health fairs. The hospital sponsors a health fair. The newspaper may sponsor a health fair. Yeah, they work. They make money. They make money for the people putting on the health fair. I've never seen anyone really make money going to those things. I know here in Florida, when I opened a practice, the girl that I was in business with in Fort Myers said, oh, yeah, it was a great deal. She wanted to go. It was a health fair mainly for women. This is Florida. She was into that. I said, well, go. I ain't going. Anyway, I love to be proven right. By the afternoon of the first day, it was a 3-day thing, she was packing up to leave, and they came and told her she couldn't leave early. It was a horrible experience. People wanted everything for free. She gave a talk, again, everything for free. A lot of, like here in Florida, but also in the Midwest when I've done it, I've heard it from other people, you get the people that go to those health fairs because they want free stuff. And of course, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, they give out pens and notepads and that. That's all people are there for, right? Approaching doctors. This works only if you do it in the right way. Most people do not do it in the right way. This I can tell you, I am a doctor. I work a lot with medical people. I can tell you the biggest thing I hear when I tell people what I really do as a hypnotist, and that is they say, wow, I've never met one, or the few people they've met, maybe a couple people tried to come in their offices, didn't do it right at all. Right? So this is why this stuff doesn't work. Again, civic groups are usually do-gooders. They're the people that go there to feel good, to do good. A lot of times, they're on somebody else's dime. They're the bank manager. They're the regional manager for something like that. They're not really there for personal growth. BNI, Business Network International, seems to be a little bit different because people are there to network. There's some pros and cons to that. I've known people who have built pretty good practices going to BNI. And again, you got to have a specific way to do it and a hook. But generally, doesn't work too well. Some of this might have worked in the 1970s. Same with some of the old advertising things, handing out flyers, doing some of that. Might have worked in the 70s. Doesn't seem to work now. Each decade we come forward, everything continued to change. And when you do it, people do it, it's not done correctly. They're doing it like it is 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And again, doesn't work because they have no clear plan. They're firing shells in the dark. They don't have a target vector, to fire into. You need a specific target if you're going to do this. Again, if you were going to go talk to civic groups, I would talk about how you could use not stress management, but what we do to sell more, to be a better productivity, things like that. And mainly why it doesn't work is people don't know how to sell hypnosis services. They're trying to sell hypnosis, not their services, right? So here's what you need to do in 5 steps if you want to develop the kind of practice that you want. Number 1, you have to decide what type of practice you want. There are many different models. I've had different types. We're going to go over a couple types in a moment. But, so when you pick that model, when I told about find a model that's doing what you do, make sure he's done or she's done the kind of practice that you want to do, right? And then you have to learn to sell clients on the magic of hypnosis, not the science. The science backs up the magic later on. Sell them on the magic. That's what people want, right? You got to learn how to properly handle phone calls. This is where most people lose time and clients. And your time is valuable. Your time is valuable. You got to have a protocol for what you're doing. Your weight loss protocol, your stop smoking protocol, if you're doing addictions, your addiction protocol, whatever you're doing, you should have a protocol. There's a reason why protocols work. Anybody on the call has been through hypnobirthing or seen it, any of the hypnobirthing kind of classes, they follow a protocol because it's replicatable. And I'll link it back to what I was talking about earlier with your doctors. They want protocols. When you say, well, I have a weight loss protocol that da-da-da-da-da does, and it's been empirically proven, da-da-da-da-da, that will get their attention. Then you need a marketing plan. You got to figure out what you're going to do, including a budget. Yes, a budget, right? Find a mentor that's done what you've want to do, right? Now, here's the hidden secret. You must still network at every opportunity. There's nothing like pressing the flesh, shaking somebody's hand, telling them what you do for a living, being human. Now, to do this, you have to network properly. The number one way to network properly is you have to look like a professional. If I'm taking the day off and I'm in I'm sitting here now, but I'm on a call, a Harley t-shirt or, tank top, my shorts, my sandals, because I had to go out and do some stuff with the horse this morning. I'm not going to network, right? I'm not going to go out of my way to network. When I'm in work mode, I'm in business casual, and most you see me, I have a suit on or a sport coat, which in Florida is a little tough sometimes, but, I got to look like a professional. So when I shake somebody's hand, I look and I can hand them my card. Now I tell people, even skip the card, get yourself a little postcard with your picture on it, on one side, what you do on the back, your contact info, stuff like that, and cop little picture of a book you've written. If you haven't written a book, that also goes into your practice building. Because you will be the only hypnotist they've ever met. I guarantee it. I can guarantee they haven't met many if they've met one. So, and again, why is that? A lot of hypnotists will run from the word hypnotist. They'll say, I'm a therapist. I do creative visualizations. They're the ones that are afraid of hypnosis. Most people are fascinated with it. So you will be the only hypnotist they've ever met. You got to make it fun, right? When you do this networking, you should be having fun. This is the most coolest stuff in the world. And why? Because people love passion. When you sell it with passion, it sounds wonderful. And again, going back to this, that's why if I'm taking the day off, I step out. I think everybody needs an off button. I'm not really into it, right? I have to gear up to do it, right? Step one, this is the first step. You have to decide what type of practice do you want. There are many different types. There's a part-time practice. Many people in our field, since it's a low entry point, as we call it, in time and money to get trained, they might want to start part-time because they have a full-time gig that pays quite well. Or I just worked with one person. They kind of like what they do full-time. Pays well. They enjoy it. Well, my thing is, well, then don't quit, for God's sakes. Get a nice little part-time practice. And then don't kill yourself. Don't try to run 2 full-time jobs. 1, maybe 2 evenings a week. Maybe a part-time Saturday, 1 evening. Because you're still human. You still got to have a life. And maybe that you can get your hypno fix in to help other people, right? But maybe you want to start part-time because you have to. Or you really like what you're doing. Or you have family responsibilities that you have to take care of, so you can only I speak for a living. Start part-time. Maybe you want a specialty niche. There's something you really love to do. Working with a lady on hypnobirthing. She really just wants to do hypnobirthing. And of course, I'm like, you sure you don't want to do a little weight loss with your hypnobirthing? Because, you got these ladies, they're pregnant, you're working with them with their pregnancy. Well, the first thing most of them want to do after they have the baby is maybe drop some weight, get back in shape, right? Of course, in your hypnobirthing, you might be the only, I said you should be the one that can help as you start working with them on getting ready for the hypnobirthing, bring up the fact, why do most movie stars get back in shape very quickly? Well, because they're rich, they're famous, they have the cooks. All that comes into play. But I read a thing that most of them only gain 15 to 20, a little over 20 pounds for the pregnancy. They don't use pregnancy as an excuse to gain 65 pounds, right? So then there's less baby weight to lose. And a lot of this goes back to our hunter-gatherer mode, right? When we went back 10,000 years, when, women got pregnant in the tribe, they didn't put on all that much weight, They just didn't. You couldn't. And then the weight came off very quickly afterwards because they got active again. So what kind of specialty niche? Hypnobirthing. Maybe a sports specialty. I've worked with people that just want a sports specialty. Can be done. It's not easy. Of course, I've had a specialty practice in addiction more than once, where that was my primary thing. Even then, within the specialty, it seems like it morphs out and you end up doing more things. But if you have a true love, you want to do your specialty niche. Do you want a group type practice or by yourself? You want to go into a group that has pros and cons, or by yourself? Maybe you want to develop a celebrity practice. That's where you're the name. It's about you, and then you might have offshoots under you, but it's about you. There's advantages to a celebrity practice. There's big disadvantage to a celebrity practice. And we can talk about that. It depends what you want to do with it. And lastly, do you want what I call a super practice, multiple rooms, where you have 3 rooms, a consultation room, 2 treatment rooms, and your consultation room doubles as your office. So you have your office consultation room and at least 2 treatment rooms, if not 3. And so you bounce between rooms yourself, not just with other. You don't bring in new hypnotists yet. One hypnotist can easily run, if they're doing this kind of practice, 2 treatment rooms and still do consultations, right? So it depends what kind of practice you want. And I've ran a super practice, I've had a specialty practice. Several times I've had part-time practices because I was doing either something for one of my licenses or board certification or something. I'm kind of doing a part-time practice now, 2 different part-time practices. Because just with what I'm doing, I'm not running a full-time practice. I've been in group practices, and I always stayed away from the celebrity practice because I saw too many negatives about it. That's my own thing, but I've been exposed to all of these and done some time. Step 2 is you need to learn how to handle phone calls and inquiries, right? It's the biggest time waster of most hypnotists, NLPers, and a lot of other people in our business, including massage therapists, Reiki people, things like that. It's the biggest time waster, because what it does, it also wastes the client's curious state. They are calling you because they are curious. Will it work for me? I think it'll work for me. I want to know. They want to know will it work for them. They don't want a dissertation on hypnosis. They don't want a dissertation and a 5-minute bio on who you are yet. They're just curious, will it work for them? That's all you want to do. You want to turn their curious state into a level of commitment to get them to come see you. That's it. That is what you want to do, right? If you can't get the commitment to come in and see you, they're never going to be a client. You're wasting your time on the telephone. A phone call should never take over 5 minutes for a client coming in for any of our services. And you have to know when to talk on the phone. Once a client's a client, you can talk on the phone. When they're just a prospect, you don't like it. My evidence for this, ladies and gentlemen on the call, have you ever been in a department store and you're up at the counter or you're trying to go to the counter to get some help, and ladies on the phone talking to somebody, puts them on hold, tells you they'll be right back, and then goes off to find whatever this person on the phone is looking for. Then they come back, finish the phone call, answer a couple more questions, and then hang up the call. Now, that just 90% of the time, when that happens to me, I'll interrupt her and say, I'm standing in front of you. I'm ready to buy something. That person on the phone, statistically, 50% of the time is never coming in. What do you want? And then people like look at me mean, but it's like, you know, customer service, I'm your customer. That's a prospect. There's a big difference. And if you never learn that, you will waste a lot of your time, right? So also with this, you know, you got to get them to come in, commit to coming in to talk to you. Because you don't talk too much. And by the way, I would argue never give prices on the phone because you don't know what the price is going to be till they come in. And again, my evidence for that, ladies and gentlemen, try to call one of the heart specialists in your town in medical and get a price on the phone. You might have a price for an office visit. Is that what it's going to talk? Is that what it's going to cost to fix my cold, my broken bone? No. You got to come in, see the doctor. You need that attitude. Then you need to learn how to sell your services. You need a proper mindset. You're always pitching yourself. People are interested. That's why they called. That's why they reached out. That's why they're on the phone with you, right? But you got to be pitching yourself first. The solution to their problem second. And then that flips as soon as you start talking to them. You're selling them to the solution to their problem. You're the solution to their problem with what you know, right? The hypnosis is but a tool. The NLP is but a tool that you're gonna use. But you can't help if they don't become clients. If they're just prospects, you can't help them. Don't fix them on the phone, right? Get them to come in to talk to you. And then to do that, you need to really find your client's pain point or the prospect's pain point on the phone. Why are they calling? How has being fat caused you problems? How is smoking affecting your life negatively right now? You know, what is it with your drinking that's messing up your life? And then leverage that pain point. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to get any better if they don't change. You have the tools to help them change. Sometimes you need to maximize the pain. Because generally humans and our nature is to minimize the pain when we're talking to somebody else, right? And then you give them a taste of it and a solution. You know, I had a client just like you, Mary, who, you know, they gained 40 pounds over over a decade, couldn't seem to lose it. They didn't have any energy. They didn't have any vitality. The relationship with their husband suffered. You know, it was a common scenario. And after about just the first couple of sessions, she began to notice a much difference. She had more energy. She had more vitality. She felt better about herself. That was easier for her to want to eat better and even exercise more because she was feeling better about herself because that's what she really wanted, like what you just said, Mary. And it became a all-encompassing thing. It's not about the diet. It's not about what you eat. It's about what's eating you and the reasons behind it. Now, I've da-da-da-da-da. So you give them a taste of and a taste of the solution and then get them to come in. And then you close, right? Now that I do in the consultation. I might do it on the phone after I got really good at it, but usually I like to get them in the room and do this live and then say, this is what the services are. Are you interested? That's a simple close. You don't have to really leverage a close. There's no big fancy for what we do. You know, if they want it, they'll figure out a way to do it, right? Then the marketing plan. You got to find what works. Find a model that works for you in your market with the changing dynamics, with the changing world. Then you do have to have a client script when they're on the phone. You need a client script like a protocol for if you're doing a lot on emails. People email in for some information. You email back. You need to put them into an autoresponder so they get an automatic response. They go on your mailing list till they opt out. You know, if they don't opt out, they stay on your mailing list with specials, things like that. I know people in their practices now, they send out information on their services via email, put them on the email list. They also have an autoresponder list where, you know, every few days comes out if you decided to come in. You know, if you come in, we can do this, this, and this, da-da-da-da-da. And then it's just simple, maybe 2 or 3 automated responses to the person's information request. And If they come in, that's fine. And if they don't come in, that's fine too. They stay on your email list. You put them on the e-zine list or your blast list for your practice till they opt out, till they become a client or opt out, right? And I know talking to a couple people, they've had people stay on that list for several months and then decide to come in, reading the emails. Oh, client, and your client e-zine for your practice is very success oriented. Who's done what, clients doing this, what you're doing when you're speaking at a conference. If you have a book coming out, here's an article I wrote. Here's an article on weight loss. And now what the great thing about your the current web stuff is you could put people in you could put them in an autoresponder program for weight loss. So when you're find something on weight loss, it can go to your weight loss people, right? When you find, you have a smoking list, when you have smoking information, you send it to those people, and it goes on and on. Or you could just do a general one, but you need a client script and follow it. Then you got to have a live pitch that works, because still it's about getting them in front of you and pitching your services, getting them if it's an internet inquiry, getting them on the phone to get them into your office. Then you need to find a mentor that has done it so you can follow what they do. And why most mentors can or will not help you. Why they cannot or will not help you, right? And the reason is they've never done it, or they did it 40 years ago and they haven't done it lately, right? And then they're just regurgitating the crap that's out there that doesn't work, right? And I love when people say marketing doesn't work, including advertising, even in traditional advertising methods. They'll say it doesn't work, and my comeback always is, yeah, that's why Coca-Cola stopped, or Ford Motor Company. But I always think of Coca-Cola, it is the most recognized brand in the world, right? So is Apple Computer. In fact, what they do, rule of thumb is, whatever you want to spend or whatever you want to make next year, you want to make $100,000, figure you're probably going to spend $25,000 in marketing in some way, shape, or form. Right? It's 25% of your projected income. So really, you want to make 100 grand. You figure, okay, you need to make about 125 because you're going to spend 25 in marketing, right? 25 in marketing. And if you just kind of, as money comes in, you just know you're going to be spending some on marketing. Step 5 is you need a protocol, right? You need a protocol. And that is you develop or use someone else's step-by-step method. So you could talk about, with your clients, it sounds more professional. Well, my weight loss protocol is this, this, and this, right? Because that's what we're used to people doing, protocols. You do step 1, you do step 2, you do step 3, you do step 4. It's a protocol to follow. It's the medical model, psych model. It seems to work best. I know a lot of us in our field are in love with, I customize everything personally for the client. Great. Obviously, you don't have that many clients, because if you're going to totally customize an hour session, it'll probably take you an hour or 2 hours to customize that hour session. There's just not that much time. Protocols work. Protocols also help you figure out where people are stuck so you can fix them quicker. It's duplicatable and it's more respected, the medical model, right? And then you can duplicate it. If you bring someone else into your clinic to work with you, boom, now you can say, here's what we do, X, Y, Z, and they can follow it. It finds trouble. You begin to know where the trouble spots are because, second session is always, portion control. Third session's exercise. Fourth session's ego strengthening, right? And then you can maybe repeat those 4 or do whatever you got to do. Or if they're not doing the exercise, you don't go on to the ego strengthening till you start them on the exercise. It frees your mind to focus your clinical skills on when the protocol isn't working as well as it should. It worked great 75%, 80% of the time, which leads your true skill set to be used when it's needed, right? So you use your skills where they're needed, right? So here's what you need to do. You need to read about successful business ideas, not just in our field, but in other people's fields. what's working, what's not working. Kind of get a mindset about the business side of it. You know, you don't want to become just fixated on the dollars, but you need to get a successful mindset. So read about successful business ideas, what's working, what's not working. Then you need to develop your plan with you and hopefully with your mentor or with the protocol, what you're doing. So you develop your plan. What kind of practice do you want? What do you want to do? How are you going to do it? Right? Then you need to change your mindset to realize there's a lot of people who make very comfortable living in the field of hypnosis. 6 figures is doable, right? Now, I will say, if you want to earn executive level income, you're going to keep executive level hours. I mean, I love the book, The 4-Hour Work Week. But if you're in certain businesses, that's not going to work. You know, unless you're charging $5,000 a session, it's not going to crank out the kind of income you want. So, but you can change your mindset to realize it can be done, right? Leverage your time to make more money. You know, then you need to change the status quo. Challenge the status quo. Change and challenge the status quo. Don't buy into when you're around people say it's so hard to make a living in this field. It's no harder than any other field. It's just most people don't do it. They cut and run too quickly, right? And then follow a plan. As we say in diving, you know, plan your dive, dive your plan, right? You plan a mission, and then you follow the mission plan, right? And you only deviate to it when something blows up, right? And you have a plan that works that you can customize as you're going along, right? So let me give you an example. I was working with somebody on the phone, and they wanted to begin to build their business. Well, the first thing that they needed to do was change their mindset, right? So, because she was really stuck in, because unfortunately one of her hypnosis instructors was a part-time instructor, which is great, right? Except that she let it be known it was so hard to make a living in this field. Well, of course, then my big complaint with most hypnosis instructors, unconsciously, they're transferring whatever their thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes are to their clients, to their students, right? So the client picked that up. So she couldn't seem to shake it. Then she went to a conference. And of course, she seemed to just gravitate to all the people that were kind of buying into how hard it was to make a living, right? And I'm like, well, you know, it's not true, right? So we talked about it for a moment. She had a belief that she needed to shift. So what I'd like everyone to do on the call is just kind of sit back, relax, close your eyes. Sit back, relax, close your eyes. And really think about, as I click on something, what is your attitude about making a really good living with hypnosis? What is your attitude about that? Right? What's your attitude? Do you think it's hard? Do you think it's easy? And as you're thinking about that, especially if you think it's difficult or hard, just kind of hang on to that feeling and acknowledge it, because there's a lot of people that would agree with you in our field. But as you think about the fact that some people might agree with you in that field, that has nothing to do whether it's factual or not. The stubborn thing about a fact is it's true whether you believe it or not. And your beliefs can run counter to the facts. And think about many times when you knew something was right, but you were talking to someone else. And they just didn't want to believe the facts because they had already made up their mind. Might have been your parents when you were young and you were trying to show them something new. Nope, that's not the way it is, right? Or those of us in our field, as you close your eyes and really relax, can really access that feeling because you've talked to somebody about hypnosis and you know it works. And they're, nah, it doesn't work. Have you ever been hypnotized? No, I just know it. Don't confuse me with the facts. I've made up my mind. And so what I'd like you to do is take this idea that it's difficult, it's hard to make a living in hypnosis, and put it into that spot where, you know what, it's really not true. It's really not true. And in fact, what I'd really like you to do, as you're looking at it differently now, kind of like you're thinking about it. It's like you can see yourself thinking about it sitting in the chair. And as you see yourself thinking about it sitting in the chair, the actual thought, the actual feeling that it's hard is out there. So you're thinking about the feeling. And as you're doing that, you realize that feeling is neither good nor bad, it just is. But from this viewpoint of watching yourself think about it, you can think about this wonderful thing. There are things in your life that you used to believe were true, and now you no longer do. When you were a baby or a young child, you used to believe in Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny. And then you got some different facts, you learned the facts, you grew up. And then you realized it wasn't true. So it used to be true, and now it's not. So you have that part of your brain as you're sitting there looking at yourself, thinking about it. And you can realize that that part of you that used to believe it was neither good nor bad, it was naive. And so you put that idea that hypnosis, making a living in hypnosis is hard or difficult, into that part where it's just naive thinking. It can be done. It's just not true. It used to be true. But you have no anger, no guilt, no resentment about having that old thought. It just used to be true, and now it's not. You have new facts. At one point, as you throw it back to that part of your mind now, you throw it back there now, you realize that at one point, maybe you thought it was hard to or difficult to hypnotize somebody. Now it's easy, natural, and second nature. And so what I'd like you to do is put that idea that you can make a living in hypnosis, a comfortable living, if you're willing to do the steps and pay the price. That's all. And you can do anything if you put your mind to it. God meant for you to be happy, joyous, and free, and to live the life you want. And for whatever reason, if you believe in a power greater than yourself, a God of your understanding, you were placed in the position to learn this skill set. And I don't think you'd be placed in the position to learn the skill set to not use it, to not access it, to not utilize it with the world, and to be compensated for it. God wants you to be abundant and prosperous. And you realize as you're thinking about it, that people put value on things they pay for. If it's given to them free, people, it's pearls before swine, as Jesus said. They don't place a value on it. But if they pay for it, they value it. Think about things you've paid for that you truly value. Could be a special piece of jewelry, a car, your house. The more you paid for it, the more valuable it seems to you. There's that other rule of thumb, that it has to be priced fairly for people to really take it serious. And maybe now as you're thinking about it, you realize that you had some naive ideas that you can change now. And so now as you take a deep breath, put all of these things where you need to be. Put the idea that you can't back there, it's no longer true for you. Put the idea that you can in the area that's true for you now. Just like you used to believe in Santa Claus, you used to believe in other facts that aren't true. Now you believe in the truth. And the truth will set you free. And you take a deep breath and just let all of that settle in. That's right. Then open your eyes. Good. And now that you've had this little experience, I would like you to really think about one other thing as you're coming back the rest of the way. That you can do this. And that you deserve it. And that for whatever reason, you've been given this skill set. So what we just did, we looked at several models. So you can kind of figure out, what kind of model do I want, right? And, I go to a lot of conferences. And I know a lot of people with different models. I know a lot of mentors that will show you how to build different kinds of practices. And usually they only will show you their model. There's a couple of people that will actually show you different models. But maybe they haven't had the other models, right? So we looked at several different models. We started the process of change, thinking that it can be done. That the idea that you can't or it's hard is no longer true for you. It used to be true, but now it's not. And that's a little technique I teach in master stuff now about flipping the mind and thinking about it. It's double dissociation, hierarchy of thought, which instantly does some wonderful things. We started to develop a proper mindset that you can do it, realizing it takes a little effort, right? And you need to know it can be done. Know it can be done, right? That's the biggest thing. So why most mentors fail you? Most only have a cookie cutter one way, my way or the highway approach. This is all that works. In fact, you can't do this in your market. You may have to move somewhere else. Well, if you like where you live, you don't want to move, or maybe you can't move right now, right? So you have to be flexible. They don't have enough broad-based experience running different kinds of practices, networking with different kinds of things. Or they can't teach properly. Doesn't mean they can't do it. They just somehow can't seem to teach it. They have a churn and burn approach. They know if they get 35 people in their mentoring program or in their coaching program or in their practice builder, they might keep 5 or 6, and then they'll just recycle and get more into the program. And hopefully get their star pupils to kind of bring more people into the system for them. So I call that a churn and burn approach. So here's what I want you to have. A practice model that'll work for you. Know how to properly handle phone calls. A marketing plan. Some sales skills. A protocol for weight loss. I always say, let's start with the low-hanging fruit, right? You know, I mean, is it 60 to 70% of the American population? The Western world is trying to lose weight, which is now rippling out. I know in Asia it's gone up. So if you have a protocol for weight loss, it's the easiest thing to start with, right? So introducing the ultimate practice builder, which is my 6-figure cash practice. I believe this is the best course on practice building, both live and in the classroom. And the reason it's better than anything else out there today is experience. I've ran different kinds of clinics. I've been the clinical director of psych hospitals. I ran outpatient programs in substance abuse treatment. I ran inpatient programs. I ran the super practice, the specialty practice, just doing hypnosis, never mentioning my clinical psych degree. Right? So I give you a different viewpoint. And if you don't have this course, you'll stay stuck. And you can get started in only 2 days. And you can get both a live class and the home study class, right? That's right. You can get the live class and the home study course, right? So the ultimate practice builder. First, it's an online course. Then I'm going to be updating some of the modules or adding new ones. We go about developing your personal practice plan. We delve into that. We do a whole module on just phone calls and screening magic to make sure you sign up the people that show up. First, get them in there off the phone or off the internet and in your office, and then sign them up. Then we're going to help you develop a marketing plan, or you're going to develop that just in the home study version or in the web version. Develop a protocol. Start with mine, tweak it to fit you. There'll be challenges. We're only good if we're challenging ourselves. There's checklists. There's recordings. You can access them 24/7. There's a community developing where you can ask other people questions. Personal coaching is going to be involved, right? So the total value would be $3,071. Now, I think it's fairly priced at $997. You know, 3 to 1, as we'd say in marketing, right? But I'm going to charge just $497. Cut that in half. Why? So you can have even more. And with that, you get 2 days of success. If you want to come to the live training, you'll get both the home study, and if you do the home study first, when you come down to the live practice builder, we can customize it for you. We can spend time on each client. It'll be a small group where are you stuck? What's your major malfunction, right? As they used to say, right? Let's get you unstuck. So you've been through the practice builder. Now we can unstuck you on those specialty things. And that's October 11th and 12th in Venice, Florida, at the Ramada Inn. So you can start with the home study webinar course, now go through that, and then customize it when you're here. And you get both the home study and live. Then when you go back, you can always review the live, help tweak the live, right, with your feedback, your attitude, so we can even make it better for everyone else, right? So you get both the home study and the live. And it's customized for you by, if you do one, then you come down. So, and really we'll be working on sales skills and protocols, things like that. So go here now to nfnlp.com, www.nfnlp.com, and sign up for the live course. I'll get you in the webinar. We'll have a lot of fun, right? We'll have a great time with this. So invest in yourself. High achievers look for ways to succeed. The only catch, you have to have the courage to break away from the status quo, to not be one of the people at the conferences, and hard to make money. It's difficult. You'll be the one dressed nice, having a good time, enjoying what you do, and having the money and that to go to the conferences. You know, it's part of your professional development. You know, it's why I say I don't understand how people don't go. I go because it's part of my professional development. I'm about to spend a boatload of money to become board certified by the anti-aging medical group, right? So I got to go back and learn all this medical stuff again, right? So it's part of your professional development, right? So you have a decision to make. The good news is it's an easy decision. So go to nfnlp.com now or email me at drwillhorton@gmail.com and we can work out. There's other ways to get you in. So go there now. Or you can PayPal $4.97 to drwillhorton@gmail.com. That's my PayPal address, either at NFNLP or this one. Let me know you're coming. Get you started on the webinar course so you can go through it so we can rock this puppy up in Venice, Florida. It's a nice hotel. It's the Ramada Inn, reasonably priced. It's not season in Florida yet, but the weather's beautiful. Hang out by the pool in the nights. We'll go to dinner. We'll do some things. It'll be fun. I know we'll have some other fun things planned for it. And just to hang out. And there's restaurants in the neighborhood. That's what I was getting to. So in the hotel, all the rooms have a refrigerator and microwave, so you can, you know, if you like to eat healthy, you can do that also, or you can pig out with some of us. Anyway, we'll have a great time. So the bonus, all fees that you do this, if you want to later on do my mentoring program or that, it'll be applied to it. And you'll receive a 50% discount on my personal mentoring program, which I'll talk about one-on-one. It may not be right for you. A lot of people are not the right fit at the right time. I just had a couple of people call. One person decided to do the coaching. The other, we decided, you know, they need to do a few things before I can really help them. I'm not the person to help them right now. So I sent them in a different direction. Maybe in about 6 months, they'll be ready, right? I'd rather everybody be ready. NFNLP.com. Without this program, you stay stuck in a rut. It's hard to make money. You're just stuck. You probably have anger because when you do go to places and you see the people do make pretty good money at hypnosis, it can turn that anger inward, so you become depressed because you're not being true to your true self. You're not being your true self. And you're not impacting the world enough. With the course, you have the freedom to learn new things. Because also when you start making more money, you have the income to go do other things. Like I'm doing the anti-aging medicine. I'm going to do some other things, right? All the stuff I'm doing about other aspects, right? You're helping more people in different ways. You find new ways to help people, right? You're having fun again. And you're joining the elite group of people really doing it. So I already went through that. Risk-free. It's an easy decision. You have the decision. It's an easy decision. For any reason you're not happy, you can get your money back before you come to the live course. That's fine. The only catch, you lose access to the training and the community, and you won't come through the live training. What to do? Again, go to nfnlb.com to secure your post. I want to keep the numbers down so we can really work with the people. Click the pay button and pay that $4.97 or PayPal $4.97 to drwillhorton@gmail.com. Look for details on the webinars and go ahead and do it right now. www.nfnlp.com. I'd like to thank everybody for being on this call. I hope everyone has a wonderful day and I wish you the best. Thank you.